Are you scrambling for the upcoming tax deadline and need to get your finances organized fast? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about here today, so stick around. I'm Jamie Trull, CPA and financial literacy coach, and if you are a business owner or solopreneur, or even if you have a side hustle, you are in the right place. We're going to be talking about some business tax time tips today that you don't want to miss. So if you are worried that you have way too much to do and way too little time to do it, don't worry, I have the tools and the tricks to help you today. So let's first jump into why organization matters when it comes to our business taxes. So organization is super important, but it is really important for business owners because we do not want to miss tax deductions. That is what typically happens if we are super unorganized and we're doing things at the last minute and we're trying to find what all of our business deductions are, right? We are at risk for missing things. So we don't want to do that because when we miss tax deductions for a business, that means that our taxable income is higher, which means our taxes are higher. So we want to make sure that we are getting every deduction that we are entitled to. So what are the things that you need to get organized when it comes to taxes? Well, you're going to want your financial statements and specifically your profit and loss statement. If you do not have one yet, that is okay. I'm going to give you some tools for how to get one together very, very quickly. But you definitely want to have that, which is a record of your income and expenses. When you do your tax filing, regardless of the entity type that you are, you're going to have to tell the IRS what your income was, what your deductible expenses were, so that they can come up with your taxable profit. Okay, so it's really important to have a profit and loss statement, also called an income statement, to be able to support that. If you're a corporation, you're probably also going to need a balance sheet. So that is something to definitely be using a software or working with an accountant to make sure that you have a balance sheet. You're also going to want to have record of your expenses, okay? So especially anything that is a deductible tax expense. What's deductible? Well, anything really that you're using in your business, that you paid for your business. Of course, there are rules, but ultimately what the IRS says is that it has to be ordinary and necessary. And really what that just means is that they're typical types of expenses for your business. They are related in some way, they are aiding you in your business, and that's really what they're going to be looking for. So as far as documentation, sure, you want to keep receipts and things like that. You're likely not going to ever need them, but if you do, it's best to have them somewhere. Now, if you are in that place where you are scrambling for tax time, remember, the most important thing is to get those deductions in. You can then document on the back end if you need to, right? So if you get everything sorted, then you can go back and do that documentation after you file your taxes, but you do want to make sure you do it. And the reason you want to make sure that you do it at some point is because eventually you're going to move past this year, you're going to forget what those expenses were for, and if and when the IRS does come a-calling, which they love to do, right? You want to make sure you have all of the evidence you need to support those business deductions. So you want to have some way to get those organized. Now, I will say there are tons of tax organization tools that exist out there depending on your needs. So if you are a person that wants to go the software route, things like QuickBooks Online, if you're using that for your accounting, you can also use receipt capture and things like that to be able to document what is going on with those expenses if you want to. Or you can do it the more analog way and use a spreadsheet. I do recommend still creating an actual profit and loss and not just having a laundry list of expenses, but creating a profit and loss, but you can do that in a spreadsheet. I just happen to have one that you can use as well. Now, if you're listening to this and saying to yourself, how the heck am I going to have time to get up and running on a whole software? I have not been doing my bookkeeping or keeping up very well for an entire year, and the tax deadline is right around the corner. I'm not even wearing a watch. I don't know why I did that. But if you're wondering, what can I do right now, Jamie? Help me right now where I'm at. I'll make some better changes next year, but what do I do in this case as the deadline is ticking? I got you. Okay. So jamietrull.com/tax time. You're going to be able to grab my ultimate tax bundle that has everything that you need to get ready quick, to make sure you're not missing deductions, to do everything in an afternoon and be able to hand it on over to your accountant or go and file your taxes with ease. Okay. So we are doing a sale right now. This is a special tax crunch time sale. So those of you who are my procrastinators, you get to benefit right now. because we're doing a special sale. It is 1/3 of the cost currently. However, that is subject to change depending on when you're watching this video. So if you're watching this video long into the future, that may not be the current deal. So go check it out, jamietrull.com/tax time. So if you're wondering which business deductions are most often missed, well, those are the ones that are shared expenses. Maybe those are personal expenses that you have, but a portion could be written off for business use, right? That could be your home office or your car or your cell phone bill or your internet bill. There are lots of different things that could qualify for a partial write-off that you do not want to miss. So many business owners miss this, and that's really, really important to make sure that you don't. And the other thing that you want to make sure that you do not miss are those travel costs, right? If there are certain travel costs that you can write off, there's a lot of different rules around what kind of travel costs you can write off, what portion may be personal versus business, but you want to make sure you don't miss those deductions because those can also be a really big help when you're trying to reduce your taxable income. Now, one thing you want to make sure not to do is to just spend a bunch of money just for the tax deductions. I talk about that a lot. That's not a good strategy. Only spend money if it's actually going to be helping you in your business, because remember, you're not getting that money back. You're getting a tax deduction for it, which means you're essentially getting, call it like a 25% discount when you buy something that you can write off for taxes, but you still lost that 75%, right? That's still a cost to you. That's money that you cannot take and pay yourself with. So make sure that when you are spending on your business, you're spending on things that have a return on investment. Now, the other thing to do as you're getting organized for taxes is keep an eye on those deadlines and file an extension if you need to. It is super easy to file an extension yourself. So whether you're working with an accountant or not, this is something that you can do. If you're not going to meet that April 15th deadline for your 1040, make sure to extend that, okay? You can get an extension through October 15th and give yourself some breathing room. Now, my don't on that is don't do the extension and then kind of forget about taxes for the next several months. You still want to make sure that you are really working on this, that you're getting things together, because otherwise you're just going to be scrambling in October instead of April. And what's the difference? So definitely go ahead and file the extension, but don't use that as an excuse to not get your taxes organized. And one important thing to note is that if you do plan on using a tax expert to prepare your taxes, they are probably booked up by this point. I'm recording this video in March, so most tax experts are probably going to put you on extension anyway if you go to them. So just know that it's really good to do this a little bit earlier, maybe next year. If by January you are working with somebody, you already have somebody in mind to start getting things together and getting it to them, it's going to be much easier for you and for them. Now, if you're in the situation where you're saying there's no way that I can get this all up and running in time for taxes, well, first of all, remember I have that ultimate tax bundle. You can do it all in an afternoon, jamietrull.com/tax time, grab the deal. But also within that tax bundle, there is a free walkthrough of how to file an extension at zero cost, okay? So that will help you to make sure that you're not going to get those fines and penalties. That said, remember, if you do file an extension, that increases your time to file, but not your time to pay. What does that mean? That means if you expect to owe taxes, right? Depending on if you've paid in your estimated taxes, those types of things, maybe you don't expect to owe, in which case you can file the extension and you're good. But if you think you actually owe taxes, you need to get things together to be able to at least estimate and make an estimated payment towards those taxes. Or you could have some additional interest that you are going to accrue between the time you file that extension and when you actually file your taxes, okay? So filing an extension, unfortunately, is not I guess I can't say get out of jail free card, but get out of fines free card. You won't get any failure to file fines, but you still might get failure to pay fines if you don't make that estimated payment. Now, if you're interested in more in-depth tips on organization, including some of the systems that I use to organize my finances, if you're saying to yourself, next year I am doing this differently, then I want you to go check out my video that I recently released. You can go check that out on my channel after you watch this one, because it's going to give you lots of great tips and tricks and motivation to get you organized for next year so that you're not in this spot when it comes tax time next time. And as always, I do recommend hiring a tax professional. There are tons of great ones. I even have a preferred vendors list that you can check out if you're looking for someone specifically. Again, right now, they're probably all maxed out for tax time 2024, but in the future, you can get on their list so that you can have a great tax preparer that you can trust. So there you have it. If you're looking to get organized quickly, remember I have that special deal right now on my Ultimate Tax Bundle. This is all about getting ready for taxes. It is going to help you get your P&L ready. We have a P&L template in there. We also are going to help you calculate those additional deductions that people oftentimes miss. And you're going to have checklists and guides in there to guide you so you don't miss anything important. And it's going to be something that you can use for years to come. So make sure to jump on that right now while we have it on special. I hope you have a fabulous tax time. Make sure to watch a lot of the other content that we have on this channel to help you out. Make sure to subscribe if you want more about finances and getting organized, and make sure to comment if you found this helpful. Thanks so much.